Welcome to Leslie's Love and Oven. I'm Leslie and today I'm sharing my recipe for lemon blueberry scones. On a cold winter day, it's one of my favorite recipes to make because I usually have the ingredients on hand. It's just a few and it comes together easily and makes a delicious small batch of scones, which are a tender and delicious treat with a hot cup of coffee. So when I make the scones, I like to use my food processor. And to get started, I have a cup of all-purpose flour in there. And to that, we're going to add a tablespoon of sugar, a teaspoon and a half of baking powder, a pinch of salt. You'll also need a tablespoon of lemon juice with some freshly grated lemon zest. I usually use one small lemon. And then 3 tablespoons of very cold butter diced into small cubes. And I usually pop that into the freezer about a half hour or so before I'm actually going to make the scones. And then a half a cup of heavy whipping cream. And then a 1/4 of a cup of fresh blueberries. That's it. So the first thing I'm going to add is the baking powder, the sugar, and the pinch of salt. And just give that a pulse or two just to combine it. Next, I'm going to add in the cold cubed butter, and we're going to pulse this just a few times until it kind of resembles a coarse cornmeal. Okay, that should do it, and there should still be some lumps, which I see here. So you can see it's still a little bit crumbly, but it's starting to mix in with the flour. So I just want to show that the butter clumps up into little lumps like this, which is going to make the scone tender and a little bit flaky. Okay, so next I'm going to add the lemon juice with the lemon zest and give that a pulse. And then finish it with the heavy whipping cream. Okay. And again, nice and cold heavy whipping cream just over the top. And I'm going to pulse this just a few times until it comes together. And then I'm going to finish by turning it out into a bowl and adding the blueberries to combine it all together. I usually do about 10 pulses, so I think this looks great. So you can see the difference here, and this is going to stick together when we combine it and add the blueberries, which we'll do next. Okay, so I'm going to dump this out into another bowl, and the oven is going to preheat at 375 degrees. So I've got the oven on, and we're just going to finish these by forming them and adding the blueberries. Okay, so with obviously very clean hands, you're going to kind of work the combination here of the flour and the ingredients that we mentioned and kind of just start pressing it together. Look, you could see there's some of the butter, and you'll see it just kind of forms into a bigger ball of dough. And then I just kind of press it gently. Don't want to overwork it, but you can see it starts to come together when I press it towards the inside of the bowl. It just kind of comes together. And then I like to add the blueberries, just kind of scatter those in over the top, and then just kind of fold them in until it forms probably like a 5-inch disc. You could also do this on the countertop. I just find it's easier to kind of just press it together gently, but again, mixing, folding, not overworking it, but in your hands you can feel that it's coming together. And kind of shape it into a disc like this. If you need a little more flour on your hands, you can do that. I don't like to overwork it, but you can see it's a little messy, but I think it's fun. It's like Play-Doh for adults. And when it's done, it's going to be delicious. Okay, and there's my disc. Just putting it on the baking sheet again with the parchment. And now I'm just going to cut it into 6 little wedges. So I cut it in half and then just kind of cut it again like this, just to kind of get it, there we go, just 6 small pieces, which is going to be great. And then I just like to fan them out a little bit so they each have a little room. And these are mini, which is great. Oops, this one, there we go. Okay, and these will bake for about 22 minutes. And while they're baking, we'll make the lemon glaze to go on top. Okay, so for the glaze, I have a cup of powdered sugar here in the bowl. And to that, I'm going to add a tablespoon of fresh squeezed lemon juice and about a teaspoon of water. And I'll start with that, and then if it needs to be thinned out, I'll add a little more water. My goodness, 25 minutes never felt so long. Okay, so they're completely cooled, and I'm going to drizzle the lemon glaze over the top, just back and forth with my little whisk, and then we'll let it set up, and I'm going to put on some coffee. So time to taste. I have some coffee here, and I'm going to pick this one, and here we go. It's so delicious. It's simple, but it's so delicious. It's tender. It's not dry. You can taste the lemon, that little burst of the zest, and the blueberries, of course, give it a little burst of juiciness, and it's just a winning combination. So like I said, it's a small batch and it won't last very long, but I plan to make another batch. And the next one's going to be strawberry, so I'll switch out the blueberries for strawberry, and again with the lemon glaze, that'll be delicious. This is a very easy recipe. Another reason why I like it is because you can use different variations of different ingredients. For example, I've made pecan, and then I've just put a plain powdered sugar glaze over the top. So for this recipe and the variations, please visit us at leslieslovenoven.com. And until next time, bon appetit!